Well, look, seeing this is live, I want to read out this quick statement. We're very pleased with our meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio this afternoon. We came here to listen to the new administration and to be clear about what is important to New Zealand. Today we enjoyed a substantive and productive discussion with the Secretary across a broad range of issues. There's a lot happening in the Indo-Pacific and indeed our world. It's a seriously valuable time to be here in Washington, D.C. And we're talking to someone today who had a long career in foreign policy. It was very helpful to reconnect with him and his insights into what's going on. This has been a very successful visit to Washington, D.C., meeting with a wide range of representatives of the Trump administration. So we've had an excellent trip.
Minister, what specifically did you discuss with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio?
Well, we talked about our position, our long relationship, the trading circumstances going forward, the security circumstances going forward, and a wide range of issues with his team as well.
What specifically did he say regarding the trading relationship going forward? Many in New Zealand are worried about that, potentially tariffs imposed on New Zealand. Did he have anything to say?
Well, we shared some significant information. For example, that since 1870, we'd been asking about a trade agreement, and I pointed out to him how patient we were. On the matter of tariffs, we had set the standard 4 decades ago, and other countries were catching up in terms of fairness. He understood that, so we came away much more confident than when we originally came here.
Obviously this morning as well, there was a substantial phone call at the White House down the road from where you are between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. I understand that you got an update regarding that. What's your, I guess, assessment or response to the outcome of that meeting between Trump and Putin?
Well, he gave us a readout, but he made it very clear that these were the embryonic or putative talks going on. There's a lot more to be done. So that is something that will come in the weeks and months ahead. I can't say any more than that.
Were there any indications that New Zealand might have a role to play there?
No, that wasn't the part of the subject. We were talking about his conversation, or in the room of this conversation, with the leader of Russia.
Are these ceasefire talks going fast enough, Minister, do you think? I mean, New Zealand has skin in this game as well.
Well, look, the ceasefire is never fast enough. That's a sad thing. But we want a lasting ceasefire.
Do you think that's likely?
Yes, I do.
In terms of the meeting, did Secretary Rubio make clear any expectations of New Zealand?
Well, he did, but he had been well briefed by the security advisor to the President from yesterday's discussion. And as a consequence, we had a very wide-ranging, very meaningful meeting. We were seriously pleased with the outcome.
Are you able to enlighten New Zealanders as to what those expectations are?
No, it's a work in progress. We've got time down in the next few months to make sure that we bed those things in.
Did you get a sense from the Secretary what his main priorities in the Pacific will be over the next coming couple of years or few years?
Well, yes, we did. I mean, it's about things like security, trade, the capacity to trade. This is to do with our security. There's a lot of things to talk about. He's very much aware of the fact that we have a long-standing relationship with China, that we value our relationship with China when it comes to trade. But at the end of the day, we're talking about not just China, we're talking about the blue continent, the Pacific, in which we are a key player, and he recognises that.
And in terms of recognising that, what does that mean practically? How will they tangibly show that commitment to the Pacific?
How will who show the commitment?
The US.
Oh, well, you don't go into a meeting and ask everybody in the space of a meeting stretched out over the time you gave us, and we went over time. You can't ask them all those details in that short time. However, we have made some serious arrangements to keep our dialogue and conversation going in a very meaningful way.
Minister,
Did climate change come up as an issue?
No, I can't say it had in that context, no. We only had so much time.
In regards to the Pacific at all?
The climate change in the Pacific? Well, only from the point of view of things such as resilience measures, which is part of our aid program. The peripheries of that were briefly touched on. We could have been there for hours and hours, but we just didn't have, nor does he have the time.
Do you think that by coming here, having this face-to-face meeting, though, that there is that established relationship with Mr. Rubio, that you might be able to get some further assurances that there will be less cuts, perhaps, for the Pacific?
Look, we had put a lot of work in long before the American elections in 2024 to ensure that if this moment ever came, we'd be as best prepared as a country like New Zealand could possibly be prepared. I'm proud of the preparative work we put in, proud of our ambassador and the staff, and we hit the ground running.
Minister, you did this trip essentially last year as well, so it's almost like Groundhog Day. What's changed from your perspective, from this trip compared to last trip, other than obviously the people you...
Well, the government changed,
yeah,
that's
other
why.
Than the government, what's changed practically from New Zealand's perspective?
What's changed is there's been a lot of alarm comment by too many people about what it all means. And we've advocated from day one, let the dust settle, let's find out what it all means. Caution is the name of the game here, and I'm pleased we've taken that position. Because we walk into a room having said nothing stupid. Thank you very much.
Just quickly, have you been briefed, or has the government got a position yet on these latest strikes from Israel, from Gaza?
The American government is so fresh in terms of that discussion that they couldn't tell us much more than they had found out themselves.
Does the New Zealand government have a position on it at this point?
Look, the New Zealand government will have a position on it, but the first thing we have to do is find out what it all means before we rush to make comment.
Would you consider it, you yourself, would you consider it a breach of the ceasefire?
Well, again, we've got to find out why this happened, what started it, what's the background. We have too frequently in politics, do I say it, even around the world, where people rush to judgment before they find out all the facts. We are seriously worried to find all the facts, and we'll let you know the moment we do.
Minister, sorry, just last question from me. You met with some high-ranking MAGA officials, or people close to Donald Trump last night for dinner. What was discussed at that dinner?
Well, the marvellous thing about that conversation was they were giving us the benefit of their advice confidentially.
Would you consider this trip a success, Minister?
Pardon?
Would you consider this trip a success?
Well, look, for those who are seriously worried about the real world, yes, we were concerned to ensure we came here and achieved the objectives, which was the establishment of a good relationship. We have an independent foreign policy. They respect that, but it doesn't mean we can't cooperate with countries like the United States, a most powerful economy and one of the world's enduring democracies.
And in terms of that opposition, did you raise any concerns around their comments?
There was one question, now you've got three coming. How did that happen, eh?